since it is Black History Month, your girl just wanted to come on here really quick and address mixed kids, because I know it's something that a lot of people don't consider when deciding to intermingle the cultures, okay, and decide to lean into interracial dating. So I just want to say this really quick to more so raise awareness and address mixed kids in a way that I feel like they haven't been addressed before. And I think it's important for mixed kids to realize that it's not really a matter of picking sides at this point, because you didn't choose to be here. You're just a byproduct of two other people's decisions, whether or not it was conscious or unconscious, and whether or not they took the time to consider the historical education. First and foremost, I want to say this: not many Black people know about their history. So you can't really fault your parents for not educating you in regards to your Blackness, because so many people don't know about Black history. Let's just be real. I was kind of shocked when Oprah said that some of it was unbeknownst to her. Now, she didn't say all of it, but she said some of it was unbeknownst to her. And so it's you just kind of realize that not a lot of people know about the history that is so grotesque, that is America. So have a little grace if you didn't know certain things. But I will say this: it is up to you at this big grown age to decide, to educate yourself on your Blackness. It's not okay, it's not fair for you to, let me not say fair, but let me just say it's not right. It's not right for you to sit in a space and, only pick up your Blackness when you feel like it's convenient, because you really tie into that racial element. That's kind of like that appropriation if you don't want to identify as Black. So if you decide that I just want to be white and I'm just going to identify as white, then just do that. But don't try to, be down and stand up and show up when that's not the way in which you want to live your life. It does take a lot of courage to be Black. It's definitely a lot in there that's kind of tied up into that. But I would say this: take the time to educate yourself on your history. Take the time to educate yourself and figure out who you are, because it's unfortunate, but I think there's a lot of mixed kids who just aren't taught about their Blackness. They're not taught about who they really are, and so I think that they are sometimes lost, and they do struggle with that identity crisis of teetering and tottering between the races and feeling like, how do I identify? What do I identify with? So yeah, that's one thing I would say. I think people say I'm too black for the white kids, too whatever. Well, it's too black for the white kids and too white for the Black kids. I would also like to, premise that by saying not every Black person is one particular way. Black people come in so many different shapes and sizes. So there are so many other communities of Black people who may not be seasoned in that culture. They may not have a swag. They may not have a game, quote unquote. You know what I mean? So don't ever feel like you don't belong in the community. You just haven't been exposed to your people. You haven't been exposed to people that are into what you're into. You know how many kids I know that were into anime and bands? I was one of those kids. You know what I mean? So it's we were called white girls and things like that, but it's I knew who I was, and I knew just looking back, it's I've come across so many other people who, that's who they are. For me, it was a stage and a phase in my life. I was young, but I see a lot of people who are older now, and that's how they get down. And it's that's totally okay. There are other people, I think a good example of this culturally would probably be the Summer Walker. Now, I'm not going to say lean into Summer Walker and do those different things, but I'm saying, because she didn't ask for that. And that's not exactly what I'm using her for in this example. I'm just talking about as far as what you may be into and what may be considered white in regard to that stigma that's often held around Blackness. So, understand that it's just a matter of finding your community. It's finding people who also share the same experiences as you, but it's not bonding with people and neglecting yourself and neglecting your Blackness because for whatever reason, you know what I mean? If you identify as Black, if you identify as the mixed child, it's important to know who you are. It's important to know who you are, and it's not okay to pick sides and, completely turn your back on your people because you may not have had that cultural upbringing, So I think that a person becomes whole when they understand who they are and they accept themselves. Peace.